The gut punches. The last half year was horrible. My wife was screaming at me and the kids on my birthday. I didn't get a birthday present from her. She was talking down to me all summer. Total contempt, like I was a bug on her picnic blanket. I've never been talked to so rudely before. It was something new from her. She started going to a kickboxing and jiu-jitsu dojo a lot and making new friends. She started taking private classes with the owner of the gym. His name started to come up in every conversation with me. She would compare a story I told to something hilarious this guy did. Soon she was trying to sell his leather jacket for him because he's not on Facebook. She was just helping out a friend. Last week my wife hit me with the "I love you but not in love" speech. I need a break, but I don't want a divorce, she said. No, we're not getting a divorce. Just I want to live on my own for a bit and have the kids half the time so I can have time to myself. Then she proceeded to be super happy. She hasn't moved out yet, but all the anger and emotional turmoil is suddenly gone. This isn't my first rodeo, so I know this dude from the dojo is trouble, but I'm honestly not worried about him. Good luck, buddy, is what I think. Instead, I'm worried about the kids and me. I've decided to stay in this cheap apartment for the time being, not only because I can actually afford it, Ottawa prices are insane right now, but because I think it will be good for the kids to have stability. Their bedroom won't change, their dad is still here. Their school is just down the street. Their neighborhood playground is still there. I'm a great dad. My relationship with my kids, now 5 and 7, is incredible. My daughter especially loves the living daylights out of me. Look up Daddy's Girl and you'll see her. I'm the one who helps with homework and tells the bedtime stories and packs their lunches and does their laundry. I'm also the one who gives piggyback rides and wrestles with them and plays Minecraft with my son. Plus, it's Christmas time and to keep everything normal for them, I'm not making any moves right now. But for some reason I'm feeling sad. Suddenly, I don't want her to leave. I don't want this marriage to end. I don't know why. I spent 6 years thinking of how to get out of it, and suddenly I'm given a golden opportunity, and now I don't want it. Now I'm the one silently saying please don't leave. I love you. I haven't said it out loud, just not sure what to do now. A few nights ago, I wrote a long rant about my wife wanting a break but not wanting a divorce, and she kept name-dropping a trainer from her dojo. You guys overwhelmingly told me she's cheating, but I had no proof and wasn't about to blow up any chance of my kids having their family back. So, I told my wife that while she wants to leave for a bit, I want to reconcile our marriage. I didn't beg or plead but just tried to have an adult conversation. I hate these damn mind games everyone plays. She began crying and didn't say anything except that I should have thought of a week ago when she told me she wanted a break. She got angry. Anyways, today she leaves her Mac on and unlocked. I take a wee peek. Her search history is how to hide photos on iPhone and how to delete messages. There's a brand new Gmail account open. It's not one I've ever seen. No emails there. There are visits to dirty shop sites for gear like paddles and leather face masks. She has never been into rough play. I didn't see any actual messages or pics, but I think it's enough to know. Update. Last month I wrote how my wife was having something with a dojo dude. Well, I was right about her having an affair, but wrong about the dude. It was some guy who lives 1,000 away. We tried to reconcile over Christmas. I told her I love her and don't want to end things and want to save our marriage. She said she was so relieved and also wanted to save our marriage. Things were awesome. We were making love and cuddling and communicating as a team. She even started to say I love you too when I said I love you. But something was off. She would be hot then cold. Tons of bonding one day and cold for the next 2 days. Spidey senses tingling. She's on her phone constantly. I snoop. Yup, some guy who lives in Halifax. They met a couple of times. Sounds like they smashed. Him, you came so hard when you were on me and I grabbed you. That would have happened while married. She's heading to a cottage for a few days. He's not going. She said she'll miss him. There's no cell reception there, and we'll chat when she gets back. She told me the same. She wants to clear her head. We started marriage counseling last week. Just one session. I didn't find out she was cheating when I tried to save my marriage. I just found out the truth. Just discovered the complete truth and confronted my wife. Actually, all I said was I know, and she knew exactly what I was talking about. I then said I'm not going to discuss this with you right now because I'm angry and don't want to say things I don't mean. But I want you to leave. I'm not moving out of this apartment. She's currently in a whirlwind, going through papers, walking quickly back and forth from room to room. I can see her face. She's fighting her emotions and was never very good at it. And all the while, I'm not feeling anything. Sure, I do feel hurt, but more than that I feel cold, detached, almost dare I say it, amused. Why do I feel this way? Another update. I just wanted to add some updates, as I keep getting the same advice. For starters, I absolutely am going to get tested for STDs. Second, I'm going to see a lawyer, and soon. As a broke student who is now a single father, I qualify for legal aid, which means the government will pay for the lawyers. There's a process and some bureaucracy, but I'm getting on that tomorrow morning. My WW is an immigrant to Canada from Europe, Ukraine, to be exact. I taught English there a long time ago and met her there. We fell in love, dated for a couple of years, married, and then I brought her to my home here in Canada. She's since thrived here, got citizenship, which my brother paid for because it's ridiculously expensive, and a big cushy job with the federal government. But she has nobody here, no family. Her social network is tenuous at best. Most of her friends are married couples with kids who don't have time to invest in a real friendship. The AP lives on the other side of the North American continent. He has kids of his own and is separated. I snooped his socials. He's not going to leave them to take a chance with some hussy he met once or twice for a fast crep. She's not going to be able to move there with the kids because she'll get arrested for kidnapping. She left the marital home and left the kids here. She had promised to support me while I went back to college full-time. She has broken that promise. She has nowhere to live, no one to help her, and she's about to get divorce-raped. I seriously underestimated the extent of mental illness. The affair fog is playing havoc with her. She is seriously in trouble, and as someone who was her husband for 12 years until today, my heart is actually breaking not only for me, but for her. She's going to be in a world of hurt and doesn't even realize it yet. I hate that this is happening, but I got to do it for the kids. So, here's what's happened since she left yesterday morning. I've informed my family of the situation. Our neighbor is a nice young single mother with a little girl who my daughter often plays with. She and my wife are friends, but not close friends. I informed her as well. She was so sad because she lost her husband to an affair a few years ago. She made me soup. Today I reached out to OM's wife after finding her on Instagram. I informed her of the situation. She wrote back, he had cheated on her a year ago, they had split, and he had come back last summer to reconcile. Their two little girls were so happy because daddy was home. But she had suspected something happening in the fall but didn't have evidence. Now she does. Back in November, my wife took a train trip to historic Quebec City to get away from the kids and recharge the batteries. OM's wife told me that same weekend, he took a trip to Quebec City. My WW had been sending me pics of cafes and the Citadel and saying it's so romantic here. We need to come together next time. OM's wife messaged me an hour later after confronting her. He said that my wife had told him she was separated and single. Apparently, he feels like crap for being a homewrecker. Yeah, right. Whatever, I don't care anymore. Today I started legal proceedings. I have to apply for legal aid because as a full-time student and now a single father, my income is nil. I called, got the application started. They said it can take up to 2 weeks to process and produce a certificate for the lawyers. So, I just wait. I'm going 180. I can't do complete NC because kids, and I need her to pay the bills coming up on February 1st, which she promised she would do. I'll have to be civil and courteous. I can promise you that her life is about to be blown up. She'll find herself couch surfing, with no family or real support network, and being hauled over the coals by my divorce lawyers. Here in Ontario, it's a no-fault jurisdiction and there's a mandatory 1-year separation period before divorce is issued, so I'll at least get the separation agreement rolling. She had promised me, 2 years ago when we both decided I would go back to college, that she would support us with her rather high salary. Just because she went and got some strange and is feeling all in love doesn't mean I don't expect her to stick with that original arrangement. Anyways, sorry for the rant. This is totally messed up. Who the heck did I marry? 12 years, 2 kids, dreams. It's like I don't even recognize her anymore. I'm literally 12 weeks from graduating with a degree and I've been recruited to a high-paying government job in my field upon graduation. I've already signed a letter of offer. It's unionized with a pension and everything. I am not giving up that opportunity with the finish line in sight. Like everything she has and everything she's built is here. She's known this guy for only 2 months and has only physically met him twice. She tossed away her entire life and family for that. It's just mind-boggling. My comment, the excitement of sneaking around drives them. A lot of the fun disappears once they are busted. Since OM is married, did you get the sense his wife was going to dump him? Usually, a married OM will dump the woman he has been outed over in favor of moving on to greener and undiscovered pastures. Maybe your WW just got tired of living a normal married life. She reached a certain age and started regretting not walking on the wild side some. Maybe friend influenced her. Now that she has crossed the line, she will never return to any normal married existence. The cheating is like a drug to her and she is addicted to it. None of this really matters. You are working toward your own personal goals and a life without a cheater in it. You will be much better for it. I feel sorry for her kids. She obviously cares nothing for them. For most mothers, their children are the most important in their lives. Story 2. The Dark Plan. My divorce happened quickly. 3 months of separation. A month later, I'm divorced. Why did it happen? Prior to being married, I was in the military for 16 years, constantly deployed. Let's just say your only physical stimulation comes from the computer unless you want a disease. It followed me to my marriage and manifested itself. It was never a physical cheating, but it was finally caught, with a warning from my wife. Don't do it again. I did. 8 years later, I admitted I had a problem, and got into therapy and attended meetings, but not enough to save my marriage. 13 years of marriage done, with kids to try and save too. I lost the love of my life, tried to press on. My nightmare was her meeting someone else and moving on, leaving me in the dust. For about 3 months I saw my kids and rarely saw her. I'm in a city where she has family and I've got an aunt who understands very little about my life. I struggle financially and am looking for a better job, where she has a career and makes good money. Suddenly I am back home, with her and the kids. At this point I'm living in an apartment but find myself with her more and more. My therapist tells me if this is what I want, roll with it and see where it goes. I'm getting better emotionally. I'm feeling some hope. We are sleeping with each other. I'm doing things I dreamed of with her. The computer screen's a distant past. I explained to her that visual stimulation disgusts me now because it caused me to lose her. Then it all faded. A family get-together one weekend and then I'm told we can't see each other anymore, we'll never be together, and stop caring about me. Unless it's about the kids, don't talk to me. I still love her, and she will always in my eyes be my friend. It's very hard to not be angry by this is my doing. I did this. I just feel we never gave it a chance. Why is this so confusing? I learned very early that hanging on would make me look foolish. I met people who continued to hang on and they looked weak in my eyes. At times I could see that could happen to me and I walked myself back. I think the intensity of our relationship after the divorce would have somehow created that magic you speak of. When it didn't, I was disappointed. Mentally I had prepared myself early that it was over, so when this happened, I was already making progress to a finality, but it still was a disappointment. Reading the posts here has strengthened my resolve to make a better life for me and my kids. A new career path awaits me, and I have interests that I truly want to pursue. I'm interested in a focus on meeting new people with likewise interests too. Light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. I was on the fence writing the opus, not sure what I was hearing and wanting an outside assessment. Our own love can sometimes fog that up, and it was nice to just pose the predicament and see what I might not be seeing. If anything, I was blessed to be able to share some intimacy with her that she deserved. I'm okay with the finality of it now. The love switch being flipped was especially sobering. But in my case, so very true. Convinces me even more that we'll never have what we once did. She suffers from depression, and when we were back together her depression came back hard. She told me that was a sign to her that what we were doing was wrong. Input from her family didn't help as they were in no mood to forgive me. They told her it would take years and would never fully recover. Recovery from this I know will take time. My moods change like the wind. I'm no longer in despair, and I feel more positive than I have in a while. It's the guilt that keeps haunting me, that and the loss of someone I loved very much. It feels a bit like an ending. There are two sides to every coin. As I mentioned, my ex suffers from depression. She just divulged to me recently that while I was supporting her through her many diets, she is overweight, but I loved her no matter how she felt about herself. Trying to eat the things she needed for her diet, she was secretly eating the food she wasn't supposed to. During severe depressive episodes, she would blow off work. One time for almost 2 months. During these episodes she would frequently tell little white lies to her friends and family about not making it to get-togethers or spending time with them. Depression in her case makes her not want to see anyone. My extends to quit before crap hits the fan. She's left numerous jobs because her depression almost catches up to her, and she finds something better. I've taken care of the kids. The house, not to her satisfaction. She is OCD. The plant could be off-center on the kitchen table and it would bother her. I'm organizationally challenged when it comes to the house, and I get it with both barrels. I have some college, but I was a home dad. So, as the sole supporter, I am sure there are hard feelings there. Her libido is much higher than mine. Until our interlude after our divorce, therapy helped with that. My therapist is exploring the possibility that this addiction I have may be an anxiety disorder. She wants me to participate in a study that tracks my phone and computer and undergo some testing because she feels at this point I should have at least had a relapse, and I haven't looked at anything since we separated. As for my plans, I've always had a knack for the law. I've decided to enroll in college to become a paralegal and get a certification in legal investigation. I just recently became a member of the American Legion, and I'm working on getting certified as a shooting instructor. And I'm having the time of my life with my kids, seeing them grow and watching them mature. The job is steady, doesn't pay well, barely staying afloat, but I'm looking. It's going to be a long road, but I truly believe it will sort out. My therapist told me I was an odd duck. Not many can stay off what they are addicted to. But no way I go back to that crap. It ruined my marriage. I'm not going to let it ruin me. I guess it's never too late for anything. One of my downfalls is the stars I shoot for are closer than others. I use excuses like age. I'm in my 50s. But you're right. Why should I stop at something when there is more? Becoming an attorney may seem daunting at this stage of my life, but I do have the rest of my life to work with. I should have adopted this attitude years ago. Water over the dam. Nothing is keeping me from me now, so why not shoot higher? Just recently in therapy I was told that if she suffered as much as she has, something may have happened to her in her past that I may know nothing about. I will always love her. I'm moving on for me, for my kids, and for her. My only wish is that we would have seen an MC. Would that have helped? Not sure. Would I have confessed my sins? Not sure. I read a post here that summed up my wishing. If someone is willing to quit on you so quickly, it tells you something about them. But I'm still responsible for the failure of this marriage. I can't throw her unwillingness to seek AMC on her. That's unfair. This past week my therapist received the surprise of their lives when I admitted I was living a life of lies the past 30 years. Partly it was because my lies were exposed, but mostly it was because I just couldn't live with myself anymore. The anxiety was just unbearable, and the knowledge that I knew I was hurting people became too much. I had talked to my therapists about my untruths, but not to the extent of divulging everything. Until now. I won't get into details. Suffice it to say, I wasn't who I said I was, and it not only destroyed my marriage, but it destroyed any trust I had built in divorce. If anyone has an ex here that seems to be hanging on, tell them you have lied to them the whole time and you're really not who they think you are. They'll run. I was crazy in love with my wife, did not have an affair, but in my mind, had I fessed up to it all, I would have lost her. If anyone reads this and is lying to their spouse all of the time, you are going to lose no matter what. The truth will find its way. I'm now working on living in truth. Most liars will actually find truth easier to come by because the burden was so heavy, the cleanse of being free from a lifetime of lies, and the consequences of a continuation of those lies, sets them free of ever having to lie again. I lied to save myself from something invisible that most likely never existed. My wife would have loved me for who I really was, and to think she was someone so shallow to think she wouldn't have. That is part of the shame I feel in myself. Few months later, while we were divorced, we slept together quite a few times. I'm a nice guy. I'm in therapy working on not being a doormat to my ex and working on my behaviors that got me to this point. We have a lot of electricity in the bedroom. So, it happened quite a bit for about a month. Then she suddenly shut me down. Didn't want to see me. Just a pickup and drop off of kids. Then a month or so passed, and we were getting intimate again. Not bonding, but me doing things to her. Then we got real with each other, all the truths came out, and we were done. I was well on my way to moving on. It's been a month in, and I'm doing better, working on myself, attending regular therapy and group therapy sessions. Then my son gets sick, and I'm over at the house. I'm cleaning and doing laundry, helping my ex get the house together. She reminds me that after I've helped out, we're back to just drop-offs. I find myself waiting for the other shoe to drop. I know she hates me. I've told her so. She didn't say so, but I know it. I'm just really confused. If she really hates me, why am I there? I know I made a choice to be there, but it feels like I'm being reeled in. I felt like I'm giving in or something. I'm really confused about what she wants. I'm sitting here wondering why I care. I am a recovering liar. I lost my lovely wife over a year ago when she decided she'd had enough of my lying to her. I lied about my past and who I really was. This was never about my wife. I loved her dearly. We have a son together and my love for them never wavered. I was ashamed of who I was. I never thought I was good enough to deserve such a wonderful person in my life, and when I met my wife, I didn't feel worthy, so I lied about my past to create a persona that would make her proud of me. As they say, a lie will manifest itself and begin to control your life, and when it did, it created an anxiety in me that at times became unbearable. I turned to videos as a release of that anxiety. I spent money on myself when I was the one doing the minimal amount of work to care for the house as I was a stay-at-home parent. I used anything I could to mask the anxiety. I was able to get some college under my belt but not enough to finish, and the anxiety just continued to dig a hole in which I couldn't get out. My only success was raising my son, and it seemed it was the only thing I was good at. I wrote this for guidance after my divorce, and quite frankly, I tried to use it as a springboard to get my wife back. I truly loved her, and I wanted reconciliation badly. I found a therapist and attended weekly sessions, and when my wife discovered I was not who I said I was, I went through a week straight of intense therapy. I attend weekly group meetings and teeter at times with my own self-worth, because my wife ended any hope I would ever have of us ever again, and I felt I had truly discovered rock bottom. I had an intimate interlude with my ex before these truths about me came out. I discovered a whole new woman, and knew I was still crazy in love with her. Unfortunately, I feel that will never be now. This forum continued as a support mechanism. I posted several times where I wanted to contact my ex, or found myself talking or texting her, and the overwhelming pieces of advice I got were to stay away from her, stop loving her, move on, cut her out of your life. My family tried to orchestrate a hate in me for her, and what little friends I had were telling me to move on. A month after the truth, I saw her when my son needed help with the flu, and I came by a few times during that process. Cleaning and sterilizing, laundry. Nothing was said between the ex and I, we just took care of our son. During this time, I bonded with a friend from work. My son is a Boy Scout and his kids and his grandkids are Scouts, and he is a Scoutmaster. We discovered we had many things in common. We talked about a lot of things and one day my marriage and divorce came up. I told him I was tired of all the hate. I felt I was sending my ex mixed messages about how I truly felt about her, and that by hiding behind a mask of bravado and pride, I was just falling back on lying. Only this time, to myself. Then I said these words: God hasn't been in my life for so many years, but I truly feel like giving it up to him. My friend asked me why I couldn't. He said I should tell her how I feel, not what I wanted. Tell her you love her. He went on to say that if I truly wanted God in my life, that He would welcome me, and that my efforts should be aimed at reconciling my relationship with God. And maybe that would help you reconcile your feelings about your ex and maybe even heal that relationship. I told her, without any promises from her, that no matter what, I loved her. I would respect if she truly wanted me out of her life, and even to the extent that if she were to meet someone else, I would not interfere. More importantly, my son was my focus, and I wanted what was best for him. Us getting along, I felt, was the key to helping that. I left with a feeling of relief. Interestingly, my ex said that we were truly over, but later said, if things have changed, show me actions, not words. I called my local Catholic church today. I will go to confession on Thursday after work, and tomorrow I will attend Mass. I need to live in the truth, and I need to follow my heart. Actions, not words. Pray for me. I decided to hold off on attending confession. Tuesday was my first Mass at this church, and I don't know the father or anyone else at this church. I would like to know that this is the church I will be attending in the future and developing a community with before I go to confession. I also feel a bit like I am screaming to the rafters to everyone who can hear that I am a recovering liar, and I have to respect the process a little better than that. I want to absolve myself from this anchor around my neck, and a part of me feels like I need to trust that it is going to take time, and screaming it just doesn't make everything better. I felt all along that chasing just made me look like a fool. I decided to just lay it out there to my ex that this is how I felt. Take it how you wish kind of attitude. My kids will see down the road that if I'm a jerk to my ex, they'll know it. When I'm not around the house, they know what is going on. I decided I'm going to do my own thing and do what I do as a father. If her and I get along, it is a bonus. But I decided to go in with no expectations and just plug away at what I'm doing and what I decide. Authentic. Great wording. I love my wife and my kids. I screwed up, and I own that. I've learned valuable lessons. I'm not going to hide anymore. I want something, I'm going after it. I'm not going to let anxiety take over anymore because I've made my peace with my past. There is absolutely nothing more for me to hide. I won't let anything interfere with what I've accomplished, and I sure as hell won't be going down the lying road again. I lost myself there, I won't go back. I think I would be doing a disservice to myself if I hid how I felt and put on a stoic face to how I feel. That is just a lie I would be trying to sell to myself, and I can't do that. The crying and feeling sorry for myself is over. People can take me for what they want and see for themselves what they get. But I'm not going to waste my time with anyone who isn't willing to see me for what I've accomplished mentally, and what I'm working on to make myself better. I know I'm going to make mistakes. If a judgment is cast moving forward, that is on them. I'm only human. My comment: it is going to take years before people believe you again. Give it some time, you will get there.